Good evening. I'm Beck Smith, and this is Red Stripe Review and Commentary. Tonight, we're discussing the Faithless Electors and what that means for the 2016 presidential election. But first, I'd like to take this opportunity to get formalities out of the way and say welcome and thank you. This is our first edition of Red Stripe, which is very exciting because the future of alternative online media has never been brighter than it is right now. Red Stripe is an independent amateur news and media commentary podcast focused on igniting thoughtful and educational discussions and providing insight into contemporary news that occurs in our country and across the globe. Our goal is to present and review content and create an online opportunity to share ideas and opinions. We are on the brink of media and social revolution, which has limitless potential and possibility. We should be thinking critically, speaking earnestly, and acting responsibly as we digest the social, political, and economic events that transpire daily in the world around us. I hope you enjoy this podcast and that it provides you with food for thought and a thirst for knowledge. Now that we have formalities out of the way, let's dig into the dirt of faithless electors. In the aftermath of the recent 2016 election, you may have seen stories circulating online and in the news about faithless electors and how some members of the Electoral College say they will not vote for Donald Trump when the college meets on December 19th. And this is despite the fact that he won the election on November 9th. So now you may be wondering what this means, how it could be possible, and what are the potential outcomes of something like this happening. First, let's clarify that the Electoral College is a group of 538 people who campaigned for the job to represent their party in their designated geographical locations. After an elector is chosen, they pledge to echo the vote of the people in their home state. For example, Ohio has a total of 18 electoral votes, meaning that there are 18 people who will physically cast a ballot for president and vice president when the Electoral College gathers. Since the state of Ohio as a whole voted Republican in the last election, the 18 electors who represent Ohio are expected to honor their pledge and vote for that Republican candidate when the time comes. However, a faithless elector is a member who chooses to break this pledge and does not cast their vote for the presidential or vice presidential candidate for whom he or she had vowed to represent. Out of the 538 Electoral College votes available, a candidate must win at least 270 to be declared the winner of the presidential race. Donald Trump won a total of 306 votes, while Hillary Clinton racked up 232. This is more than enough to secure him the win, except there is an active movement to stop this from happening by convincing multiple members of the Electoral College to not reflect the results from the November 9th election. So here are the two possible scenarios if this were to happen. First, there is the scenario where the Democrats in the Electoral College convince at least 37 Republicans to break their pledge and not vote for Donald Trump. If this were to happen, then Donald Trump would no longer have the 270 minimum required to win. Because obviously, if you take the 37 votes away from 306, you would get 269. In that scenario, the decision would then kick back to the House of Representatives, and they would choose who our next president would be. Since the current House majority is Republican, it is likely that Donald Trump would win this scenario. Which brings us to our second, loftier scenario. Now, some of the faithless electors might refer to themselves as the Hamilton electors. And this is a title that's been given to them based on the fact that Alexander Hamilton believed the Electoral College was designed to prevent unfit individuals from claiming the White House. So their argument here would be that they believe Donald Trump is unfit. In this scenario, they are going to try to attempt more than just 37, upwards of 135, actually, Republicans to vote for an agreed-upon third-party candidate whom they view as a compromise between the two parties. Now, that means that not only are they going to have to convince multiple Republican Electoral College members not to vote for Trump, but they also are going to attempt to persuade many of the Democratic members who are pledged to vote for Hillary Clinton to not cast their vote for her, but to also cast their vote for an agreed-upon third-party candidate. Now, this third-party candidate would also need to reach 270 to win, otherwise the decision would once again kick back to the House of Representatives. And that would, divert right back to the first scenario where Donald Trump would win. Historically, there has never been an election happen where a third-party candidate has been chosen as president. However, this has not deterred any of these Hamilton electors from trying. In fact, there is someone that they have come forward with and nominated to be this third-party candidate, and that is the governor of Ohio, John Kasich. However, John Kasich has come out and publicly spoken about this, and he has said that he does not wish for the Electoral College to vote for him. And here's what Kasich said on his social media page on December 6th, and I'm quoting him here when I say, "I am not a candidate for president and ask that electors not vote for me when they gather later this month. Our country had an election and Donald Trump won. The country is divided and there are certainly raw emotions on both sides stemming from the election. But this approach, as well-meaning as it is, will only serve to further divide our nation when unity is what we need. The election is over. Now is the time for all of us to come together as Americans." And it's signed Governor John Kasich. And again, this was on December 6th, 2016. So it remains to be seen if the Hamilton electors will come forward with a feasible third-party candidate who is willing to accept this revolutionary role. As of the date of this video, 7 Electoral College members, both Democrat and Republican, have stated that they are willing to break their pledge and vote for an agreed-upon third party. And I suppose if they can convince 263 more members to follow them, then the second scenario that we discussed earlier could actually play out. It should also be noted that some states would impose fines upon these electors, but this seems to be considered a small price to pay. Now we ask you, the viewer, to share your opinion on this current news story. Do you believe this act of the Faithless Electors, or the Hamilton electors, is unconstitutional? If not unconstitutional, is it an abuse of power to remove a candidate that won a free and fair election? Is it right for any member of the 538 electors to choose that their own opinions or desires should be elevated above the voice of the people they pledge to represent? Please share your comments below. Thank you for watching. I'm Beck Smith, and this has been Red Stripe Review and Commentary. Have a great night.